Well, to say it's October, today is very warm indeed. Very warm, very nice. I thought I'll just do a little video on more of the autumn colours because some of the plants are starting to look really good, and the problem with trying to capture all the autumn type of colours is that some of the plants can come into an autumn colour a lot later than others. So what I do is I try and get out as much as I can because I want to show you all just how beautiful they can look. Now this is an hosta, and a lot of the hostas turn some beautiful yellow colours, but not all of them. Now the trouble is, if the slugs have got to them, then you can lose a lot of this because the slugs just simply eat them all away and you don't get to enjoy this. But these two here are in buckets, so the slugs haven't really got to them. There's the odd little nibble, as you can see there, but overall they're okay. Now this one here, this one isn't looking as good as the other one. As I said, some can turn out beautiful colours and some don't. And it just so happens that's not doing very well. As I'm filming this, the sun is starting to go down. I'm doing quite a late afternoon filming today. Managed to get home, so I've decided I'll do this. I showed this the other day, and this is a Euonymus, Elatus compactus, and it always goes this beautiful, beautiful colour. It can make a fairly sizable shrub if you want it to, but generally it'll stay at about 1.5i with a 3 metre spread, so it should be okay where I've got it, but I don't know. We may have to intervene at some point and move something. I'd like to keep that Euonymus there, and maybe over time the Molinia will be sacrificed. That's Molinia's looking beautiful. This one's Storm Cloud, and it's a beauty. It's quite short. I can see it's starting to turn yellow, but it's a little bit early for Molinias to do the full thing and turn completely yellow. So I'm in the gravel area at the minute. I've had one or two little move arounds in this area, but in general it's pretty much as it was. This is Acer aconitifolium, and it is a stunner. I film this one every single year because it is so good at producing autumn colours, as you can see from that. And it doesn't matter where you stand, if this is in your view, it stands out a mile. It's so beautiful. Now, the problem with these particular types, the Acer types, is once they get to a certain point, the leaves will literally drop off overnight. And this is another reason that I try and get out as much as I can, so I can show you all how beautiful this thing is. It's a lovely, I'd call it a small tree. It's doing well at the minute. Once it exposes its branches again, I'll be able to see whether I'm happy with the shape of it, because I've been leaving this one to its own devices to grow because I wanted to see whether it would develop a nicer shape than it's already had. As I've explained before, I've had it in 2 other gardens, and I had to prune it accordingly to where it was sat, so it got quite a weird shape to it. But now it's starting to pull itself back round by the looks of it, but I won't be able to tell that until it's dropped all of its leaves, then I get a better idea. So I won't really want to remove anything at this point. Most Veronicastrums actually have this lovely colour. They go into this yellow, and what I like about it is this dark seed head that it has with it. And this one is a Veronicastrum virginicum, and we're still not 100% sure on the name, so we'll just call it that. So this panicum is beautiful, and most of them are, and this colour is with it all year, so this really isn't the winter or autumn colour that it'll have, but it has some lovely red seed heads. This particular one is the one that my friend found. She thought it was a seedling, and she says it looks beautiful, and I know it does. It does. I've seen a more mature specimen. It gets a lot bigger than this, and it is wonderful when it gets into a fuller size than this one is. This is still relatively young. Now if we look further down, that is more a true autumn colour. There it does, as opposed to this, which is its natural colour. That just needs more time now. Needs time to do its thing. And we'll just leave it alone, let it develop, let it mature. I quite fancied putting a Stipa gigantea in there because I've got one that I want to put in. This garden doesn't do very well with Stipa giganteas, but this south position that this is in would suit it down to the ground. Oh, the sun's just starting to hit the sides of these, and you can see just how beautiful it is. Very nice. I think I've got quite a nice autumn combination here with these plants. They're all looking good, and with that Miscanthus over there, that Sinensis memory, it just looks good in general. This is one of the Hylotelephiums. This one's Carfunkelstein, and people don't realise that they go this darker colour as autumn approaches. It's had a nice leaf all year, a darker purple one, but then it takes on these darker seed heads. They come out quite brightly red. Is the one I can show you. Probably down there, that's more the normal colour, the one down in the bottom there. And then it turns to this colour, quite a dark looking colour, and almost black at some point, but for now it's going to just stay as it is like that. But that's nice, a nice autumn colour. There's other things that are going to look nice over time, but nothing's there yet in this border, not that I can see. Ah, the Miscanthus is looking quite good. It's starting to go into its autumn colours. Seed heads look great on this one. I do love this one. This one's Cheiugensis, and you won't find it in any books because it was a find by a modern day plant hunter. And it is a very nice one indeed, quite small as well. Well, I think it's edging towards medium, and it has this very congested look, which I like, and it's looking very nice now. Great Miscanthus, this one, wonderful one. This one is a Miscanthus called Samurai, and it has a lovely colour from the word go in the leaf. And now the autumn's coming, it's changing its colour slightly. It's going more yellowy orange now, whereas it was more of a deeper red purple before. But it's fantastic. Now some of you, or one person in particular, has asked whether I can describe the aspects, etc., and the soil types once we go around. Well, I would do that. I've done it on previous videos, but I would be in fear of repeating myself, and it gets quite confusing. But if I say that this is a south-facing aspect where we are at the minute, then that might help you. But we are on chalk, quite heavy chalk. So if I dug the garden up, or dug some of the soil up, I would only get down to about between 6 and 8 inches, and we would hit solid chalk, and then we have to break through that chalk. But a lot of plants do tend to do all right on chalk, especially this. I'm on what they call grade 1 agricultural soil, because it is quite a good soil, and it is quite moisture retentive really where I am in this part. There's 1 or 2 parts what dry out a bit, but in general it's quite moisture retentive, so it's quite good for a lot of plants. I've also been asked about plant combinations. I tend not to go for that. I go for more plant associations. So I think I'll really need to do another video completely to tell you about all that sort of thing. I don't think this is the video to talk to you on. That's a nice little scene there. We've got Hacanacloa, which is the grass, and then behind it there's a sedum, which is quite nice. And I think that sedum's from the Brilliant group, but it was already here So I can't be 100% sure, but it definitely looks like a brilliant group type sedum. That Euchre's lovely. And that's Euchre villosa macrorrhiza. And I like it. I like it a lot. I bought 3 more just recently. And I can't really say that that's an autumn colour, although it is losing its colour and going more yellow. I just like the overall look of it, and that white flower is brilliant, as you can see from that. And it combines quite nicely with that grass. Now we're getting to a point soon when this tree itself will come into its own. And this is another Acer, but this is a Davidii type. And it's called Viper, and it's the snakeback maple type. Now that will come a lot better as winter approaches. Rather than autumn, the winter is the time for this one to shine out. It looks brilliant, I love it. I'm hoping it to make, what's it at the minute, 8-9 foot at the moment. I'm hoping for it to get to something like 12 foot. Hopefully, who knows, because as I said, we're on heavy chalk, so once it hits that heavy chalk, it will slow its growth rate down. So I'm hoping this Acer will make 15 foot. And the intention is for it to come across this path. Now I want this path to be almost a walkway through a tunnel effect, and that's what I'm hoping this particular tree will give me. It is more a tree than a shrub. If you want to keep it as a shrub, you've really got to cut it hard back into itself, which I don't want to do. I want more and more of that snakeback look. So that's going to look good in time, and we've just got to give it time to do its thing. And it is looking nice at the minute. So let's carry on the tour. Is there anything over here? Still in the gravel area. It's not really anything with a spectacular colour at the moment, but one thing that is looking good is this Cortaderia richardii, the New Zealand Toto. And it's beautiful, and it's taking this look now. All the seeds have dropped off. They're simply the seed heads, and there's probably a few seeds on it, but most of the seeds have blown away. So Binbrook can expect some of these floating around somewhere and growing wild. It's a beauty, that one. Verbena bonariensis are hanging in there, and they can hang on right for the next maybe month and a half, depending on the weather. But they are looking good at the moment. This is Gertrude Jekyll, another one that I've put up here this year, and I'm encouraging it to climb up here, which it's beginning to do. Just give it a bit more time. This is Miscanthus Beth Chatto, and it's usually a nice one, but I think it needs splitting. It's looking like, yeah, it's looking like it needs splitting. Last year it looked wonderful, this year not so great. But the one thing it does have is lovely autumn colours, as you can see, reds and oranges in this one. And this one is more elegant. Quite a beauty, really. This is a nice Symphytrichum, and this one's called James Ritchie. And as I keep saying, very valuable as a late season pollinator plant. As you can see, the bees are on it. And it's a beautiful colour. But this isn't an autumn colour, this is its natural colour. So I guess we can't really include that as an autumn colour. This Millennia is Windsowl, means wind sail, and it's losing a lot of the seeds now. So I suspect this will go into a proper autumn colour very soon. They do tend to do that. And that will be a butter yellow, it'd be beautiful. Now you should really include these things once you're looking for autumn colour, because again, seed heads dying can be quite attractive. This one's almost black, the brown. This one is in a Helenium, and it's one called Fiersiegel. It's a very nice one. Again, another nice one. I don't have rubbish plants in this garden. Well, that's not strictly true. I do buy the odd duffer, and then I get rid of it and never film it, never show you it. That Panicum's good. And that's called North Wind. A very upright, statuesque one, and it is coming into autumn colours now. You can see yellows. Most of them go a yellow. And you can see there's little seed heads on there. And I don't really get it for the seed heads. I get it for the statuesque shape that it's produced, as you can see from there. And that is possibly, let's stand next to it, so it's possibly about 4 foot tall, that. And that's about all it's going to do. Oh, we didn't mention about the Hackanachoa. Now this is just the ordinary macra. So it starts off green, and then as autumn kicks in, it goes these lovely sort of washed colours. At the minute it's a yellowy colour. They can go bright orange, they can go just a dull yellow like this one's doing, but they always have a nice autumn colour, in my opinion. It's lovely. So just the ordinary Hackanachoa macra is beautiful. You don't need to get any known varieties, because this is as good as any. I do have other varieties, I've got quite a collection going, but if I was going to recommend one to you, I'd just tell you to get the ordinary macra type. It's beautiful. Now that's starting to develop quite well now. It's about, what is it, I'd say 1.5 foot wide, probably a foot high. It's going to make 3x3 eventually, 3 foot by 3 foot eventually, but that takes time to get there. So maybe 4 years it'll be there. Some of the Sanguisorbas like this one do take on some type of an autumn colour, but it's nothing spectacular. So yeah, not great. This is one of the Sorbuses. It's called Raven's Bill, and although it's getting some nice colours, it's trying to get some nice colours, they're not going to fully develop. It's a bit disappointing, this one. I think it's in the wrong place. It's called Raven's Bill because the new leaf, those darker ones, curl over like a raven's bill. But I fear that's one possibly for a change. In fact, that's probably where the Stipa gigantea would work, but there's a lot of grasses already in there, so we have to be careful. We don't want too many of the same thing, and if we did that, we would have to start removing some of the other grasses. Now, the good thing about Stipa gigantea, and I don't have any in the garden itself at the moment, is that it's quite a long flowering plant. They just carry on, and they're very early, so they're certainly worth getting. There's a euphorbia here. Now, we'll do a talk on euphorbias at some point, but that isn't an autumn colour, that's its natural colour there, it retains all the time. This is Lysomachia clethroides, and it's got some lovely autumn colours. It's looking very nice, but this one I would recommend you keep in some sort of a pot. I've got it in this one, this metal tub. It's looking nice, but keep it in there because it can be quite a runner. If you can contain it in an area, then let it go, but it will run for you, so be careful with that one. But it does have some wonderful colours, some great autumn colours. I love it. Some of the other hostas, oh look, I get this problem quite a lot. This little tree growing in here, that's from, I'll try and get it out, there you go. So we get trees like that growing in here naturally. They self-seed around. In fact, a squirrel would have planted that one because it is an hazelnut, and it would have planted it there last year and forgot where it put it, because they do. They're very forgetful. That's why they plant so many or hide so many nuts, because they simply can't remember where they put them. But I've removed that one, so that's a Corylus. Let's show you the tree it comes from. So it's come from that tree there, Corylus avellana contorta. Beautiful tree. Not very good for autumn colours though. So we might as well mention this while I'm here, because I said I was going to do some changes in this area. Remember, gardens are all about change. You've got to change things around. Things will mature and get to a size that we didn't expect. I knew what size of all my plants in this area were going to get, but I knew at some point I would have to intervene and do some jiggling and editing, which I do now. It's best to really move your grasses in spring if you can, but as I said on a previous video, I'm quite used to moving them. And I moved this one, and I took a split off it. I took a chance to take a split off it. It's a very robust and strong grass, this one, and this is Miscanthus Poseidon, and it's a beauty. But I moved it yesterday to the section over there. If you've watched previous videos, you will realise that I dug an hole ready for it to go and be moved, and I've done that now. And I had to move other plants as a result of that. And that's a Geum Totally Tangerine, which was doing really, really well, but unfortunately it was hid under all that. And it was doing no good whatsoever. I knew I'd have to move it eventually, so I've moved it to there. And behind it we've got an Elianthus, the sunflower one, called Cape Nook Star. A beauties, but I've had to move them around. Now, I showed you this one quite a lot this year. This is Ligostichum lucidum, subspecies lucidum, and it's monocarpic, and as soon as it flowers, sets seed, it dies. Now, in this case, it's carried on. I read that sometimes they can carry on for a couple of years after they've actually seeded. I suspect there was 2 seeds in the pot that I never saw, and this one was in there as well, and that's why it's still alive. But the majority of it has died away. I've took it away. Got some seeds going actually. But yeah, I had to move around in that. Now I wanted to keep this Cortaderia just where it is. And this is Patagonia, one of the more smaller types and a dwarfing type, and it has a more blue look to the leaf, but it nevertheless spreads like that. And I don't mind that. I like that. In fact, it could really be doing with being moved to the left. That, or we'd be better taking out the box edge, but I love the box edge there. I don't want to change that. Over time I may just lift that Cortaderia and split it into a smaller plant and keep doing that on a regular basis, maybe every 2 or 3 years, lift it and split it, get it into a smaller plant. But I love to let them get to the mature size like that, because this is when they're at the best. And that one's looking beautiful. So yeah, I had a bit of a move around. This is the long border, or part of the long border, the south side of the long border, and then it runs down to the decking, or the floating deck, as you can see down there, and then it carries on. But it's a very nice border. I'm finally starting to get on top of it. Finally. Is there anything in here worth showing you? There's another Melinia, which is Windspiel, that one there, but it's not really getting into its autumn colours yet. Oh, that's looking wonderful. This is an elder Sambucus called Black Tower, and it's got signs of some of the leaves starting to look like they're going to fall. It doesn't truly have any sort of wonderful autumn colour, but what it does have is lovely leaves throughout the year, almost black, a really dark purple, but almost black. And I have quite a few of these now in the garden. The thing with it is, it does so well, as you can see from them branches there, that now and again you really do need to clip them down and treat them a bit like a buddleia, depending on what you want from the actual plant. It can be a small tree, as this one is, or it can be a shrub. Depends how you clip it. Now look, we've got some more roses about to come out here, and roses can carry on. I always say, if you just keep clipping them or deadheading them, you will get more roses. And that one, or that particular one, is Woolerton Old Hall. It hasn't been doing brilliant, I must admit, this year, but it's carrying on. Another rose carrying on. It's doing quite well. I'm in the Cloister Pergola at the moment. It's looking quite nice in here. Very nice. Here we go. So some autumn colours here. These hips, I've said many times, these hips go, I think it's a bright orange rather than red it goes. I seem to think it turned red. We'll have to wait. Time will tell on that. But even if it's a bright orange, they look absolutely fantastic. And I've left loads of hips on this time because I really wanted to have a bit of a firework display on this one. As you can see, there's lots of them. So they're going orange at the moment, but I'm sure they go a lot deeper than that. Obviously they're not finished yet, they're not got there yet. But I thought they went red. But we'll see. I'll keep you updated on that one. Who knows, it might be just a nice orange. But even so, beautiful. Love it. Absolutely love it. We can't really call silver birches as having a nice autumn colour, but the leaves of most birches do turn a nice yellow. I don't think this one has ever turned a nice yellow. Not in the last 4 years that it's been here, but it's still looking okay. And these are more all year round plant. They always look good. Again, we have some asters through there, and that one's called Empress Wu. A very large one indeed. If you look it up at some of the pictures, you'll see how big that can get. It can get to 4 foot in height. But it's looking nice at the minute. Oh, Miscanthus is nice. This is Cabaret. Beautiful. Very broad leaves. Very broad indeed. In fact, let's put my finger against it so you can see just how broad they are. There's my finger. There's the broadleaf. Fantastic. Yeah, it's looking good. I like it. Oh, look. Another rose. I keep telling you, Gertrude Jekyll just continues to flower constantly. It's a repeat flowerer. Just keeps going. You keep deadheading it and it'll reward you by producing these beautiful flowers. Now, does it have a scent at this time of year? Because usually it does. It's just starting to develop. It's beautiful. Typical English rose. Fantastic. Can be a climate, can be a shrub. It's down to you how you clip it. So I'm waiting for some sort of an autumn colour to develop on this Pittosporum. As I've said previously, it will have some nice purpley tones to the edge of it. And you can see there they are. It's reddy purple at the moment, and that goes all the way through it down there eventually. But that happens more in winter, that one. That Lithrum's looking okay. It's been better than that, but it's gone through that phase now. It's getting to a phase where all those leaves will just simply drop off. But they did look good a week and a half ago. But it's past that. I was hoping we was going to get a good show from this Lithrum, because we should get a nice yellow buttery show from this, but it's not getting cold enough quick enough. It's remaining warm, so it doesn't help autumn colour. But it's getting some. You never know, we might get a late show on that one. So that's a Lithrum salicaria type. One called Fire Curtsey or Fire Candle. But it's not getting great colour, which is a shame. But hey ho, can't have everything, can we? The Sanguisorba is looking fantastic. Blackthorn, very upright, very strong indeed. It's looking fantastic. But not really a great autumn colour. So let's carry on and chase more colour if we can. Helianthus is looking great. That's Salicifolius augealis, fantastic plant. I know I repeat myself on some of the plants that I have, but some of them are so good they're worth mentioning at least 10 times a year. This is one of those, a very good one indeed. And it's got loads of flowers on it. I wouldn't say hundreds, but quite a lot. Nice. And that makes 9 foot, but no great autumn colour. So Fatsia japonica, just doing well. But it is about to flower. They flower very late indeed. And I see it's producing a lovely large flower here. That'll be a white or whitey cream flower. It'll do really well. Lovely. I love Fatsia japonicas. There's quite a lot of snobby people out there that wouldn't give that the time of day. If you've got a nice a nice garden that requires some type of an evergreen and you can give it a bit of protection, then that would be the one. Now it doesn't need protection, because if the frost and the winds and the winter cuts it back, it will come again. It'll just come from its base if it's totally cut down. But that one's looking good. I've got it just in the right position, right down near the shack. It's looking good. I'm looking for autumn colour for you, but I'm not finding a lot here. So let's mention this. This is a bamboo. And as the shape would suggest, it's one called obelisk. A very nice one. Very nice indeed. Very upright and very obelisk. But no great colour. Now if we go back up here, I've got a lovely autumn colour on that Acer there. That's Acer Baihu. And I was hoping by now that the Acer there would be into its colour, but it's not. There's Amish making his appearance. He hasn't been here for a while, but here he is Hydrangea quercifolia. And a real beauty, to be quite honest with you. And it's called Burgundy, and it's finally taking on the colours that it should take on, which are the burgundy colours. And they're looking really nice. But it's not fully there yet. Not fully there, so we have to give it more time. Now this does take on some quite nice colours. In fact, we can just show you one of them. This is what the whole tree's going to look like. Very, very small Acer, and it's Acer Grisium, the paperback maple. But it does take on a lot of those colours as we get a bit further into autumn. I mean, this is why I really have to do more and more filming, because, as I said earlier, some of the colours don't come in to start with. They're a bit more later. So we have to do 2 or 3 different films just on autumn colour. But it's a beautiful small tree. If you're looking for a small tree, you won't go far wrong. And that's the reason it's called the paperback maple, because of that flaking bark. And that's the cinnamon colour. It's a beauty. Now it can make about 20-25 foot eventually. In fact, it can go even bigger than that. But the reason it's listed as a small tree is because it takes forever to get there. It's very slow growing. So in your lifetime, it shouldn't put on massive growth. If you do want quite a big growth on this one, you need to buy a more mature specimen. I've had this one about 7-8 years and it's doing well now. It's 7 foot, I think. But it's the autumn colours I'm waiting for. And as I said, that's what they're all going to look like. All the leaves. Oh, we can't miss this. Oh, exciting, exciting. The sun is now showing itself through there. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That is just stunning. That's the Acer aconitifolium. And this is why I have to zip around quite a lot, because as the sun's coming down, it's producing really nice colours as it goes through it. And then we have the Miscanthus memory here, which is looking great. And most Miscanthus have a beautiful type of colour. It varies from variety to variety. This particular variety, as you can see, is taking on yellows, and that's nice, but it produces these lovely fluffy seed heads. And that's a phase what I call the blowing phase, and they almost look like candy floss. Once they get probably another 2 weeks on from this, they'll blow up even more than that, so they'll go really fluffy and it'll look like candy floss. But there you go, look at that. You can see why I love that one so much. Let's carry on. So the garden's looking pretty good in general, to be honest. It's looking fantastic. It's doing what I wanted it to do, which is look good, which it does, I think. It does look good. Those 2 grasses are just so good. I look forward to this one next year. I know I'm wishing my time away again. But the Miscanthus will be cut back in about end of January, maybe February, whereas the Cortaderia will be left alone. It'll be left alone to develop again, but there will come a point when I will need to, like I said earlier, split it. Or you can clip it in, you can cut all of that back into the centre, but I don't like doing that. I think they look rubbish once you've done that. So I tend to leave them, and the best you can do, or as far as I'm concerned, the best you can do is lift them and split them, rather than cut them back. it's producing some more seed heads. Look, that's the colour they produce, and I think that's wonderful colour, a rusty red and rusty brown. And that's a new one. Because it's lost so many seed heads, because we've had some winds, I suppose it's trying to make up for that and producing these new ones. And that's another new one. That's a bit further on, but that's a lovely look, that. This is why I've got it, for the blue leaf and for that colour. It's fabulous. But then we get all these, and I like these as well. Kathy refuses to put any into vases. Maybe one day I'll surprise her and I'll pick a load and just stick them in a vase in a corner and see how long it takes for her to notice. Who knows what we'll do. Got to keep her on her toes. So this is Cornus Kousa. It's supposed to be China Girl. And autumn colours, it does have good autumn colours. It tends to have really vibrant pinks into red once it gets going. In fact, this one's doing more orange. And it is a wonderful colour. But this is not happy. It's just not happy here. I don't think it's ever been happy here. It's just not growing very well. So I'm toying with actually lifting that and trying to get it into an area where it will be happy. But for now, it's not there. And that is really annoying, because it was going to form part of the cloister pergola and I was going to make it come across. So it's a bit annoying for me, because I wanted that plant there to go up and form an archway here, which would require me pruning it correctly, but that's not hard to do. But I don't know if it's happy. It just keeps curling up. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Again, it could be down to the soil that's causing the problem, so we just have to give it time, see what happens, if anything at all. Although not an autumn colour, that Jurava Ichu seed head, which is very elongated, has a lot to offer at this time of year. Look at that, it's great. I love it. There's more Echinocloas in here. And these are macras again, just ordinary macras, very young, and eventually they will cover all that section. They will get to 2 foot, 3 foot each, if not 4 if they're happy, and they will form a nice looking there. But they're not there yet. They're still little babies. Well, probably 3 or 4 year old babies, but they're still little babies. This euphorbia is the Bob Brown one. And I will do another euphorbia video. I have done one in the past, but I will do another one for you at some point, because euphorbias happen to be a favourite plant of mine, and I have quite a lot in this garden, different varieties. But this one in particular is looking good. So the growth you can see here, all of these, they're all going to become flower heads in spring. And the growth below it, they will be flower heads the following year, because that's how it works. Surprisingly enough, that's how it works. It's getting a nice shape in the middle now. I was worried about this one very early on when I first bought it. Didn't think it was a good cutting. Did turn out to be a lovely plant, so we're okay now. It's looking good, and they will go really blue. But that's more of a winter video, I guess. Another Miscanthus. As I said, they can all take on different colours. And they do. The Calamagrostis, obviously looking good still. Looks fantastic. And I'll not cut that back till end of January. And that's when I shall take most of my plants back. I will not mess about with them until then. I leave them for the insects, and then the insects bring in the birds. So this is a perfect example of what happens if you leave them to the slugs. You don't get as good a show towards the end because the slugs have eaten them. And that's what you end up with. There's another Miscanthus memory here. Quite a good example, this one, because I can show you what it looks like when it first comes out, which is more that pinky colour. And then it develops into this fluffy phase. So that's Miscanthus memory. Looking good. Eupatoriums always always look good at this time of year. Now this one isn't really past its flowering yet, so none of the seed heads have turned that darker colour. I should really have shown you Skinny Mini to show you the difference, but never mind, we'll show you that on another one. But eupatoriums can have a lovely dark seed head and then the leaves fall off. Now in this case, this one's glut ball, they tend to hang on for ages and it has a lovely scent to it, and they're great for late season pollinators because this is one of the later ones. And it is a really nice one. And that's looking nice round there, looking nice. This panicum, this panicum's called Thundercloud, and it's wonderful. It's so statuesque and so strong. This come from Knoll Gardens down in Wimborne in Dorset, and they are a fantastic grass nursery. And they have perennials that suit grasses as well. Not just perennials that suit grasses, but they have quite a few that'll be complementary to them. So that is a wonderful one. So if you want a panicum, go for Thundercloud. Seed heads are out now and they look great, but mainly it's bought for that. That statuesque looks fantastic. Love it, absolutely love it. So we've got a Persicaria here. It's a filiformis type, and it's starting to take on some nice colours. It's not brilliant at the minute because it's still new in. Deschampsias are looking great, but they always look great. They'll look great for a long time. Goldtower, which this one is, I always recommend because it has such a longevity from beginning to end, and it will maintain that colour till it goes through, really, into January, February, when I'm going to have to chop it down. Have the seeds dropped? Yeah, the seeds have dropped. Now you have to be careful with Deschampsias because Deschampsias do seed around, but don't let that put you off. I've said it before, do not let it put you off. This is what plants do. Now we've got Echinacea purpurea here, and they have wonderful autumn colours. As you can see, these dark seed heads, people don't look at this enough. They tend to sort of think, oh, it's looking horrible, that. It's not, it's beautiful. Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful, especially against that Deschampsia, showing it off very well. Now the seed heads are ready really to pick seeds off. Where's my hand gone? There we go, look, there's the seeds. Now we need to pick these on a dry day. I've just pulled them out really. I'll drop them onto this path because I don't really want them growing where they are in that section anyway, and I will collect these seeds, but I really want to collect this one. This one's Pallida. I love Pallida, and this has more of a reflex petal, as you can see, the pink one, looking brilliant. I love it, really do. So we shall collect more seed heads off that on a dry day, and we shall take them. Another euphorbia looking good. Now Phyllictrum, which this is Phyllictrum Ellen, do take on nice yellow leaves if we can get them right, and they maintain the reddy, in this case pinky stem. That does quite well, and depending on how the weather's going to turn, that could carry on like that for the next month or so. Time will tell. This Persicaria is starting to take on some autumn type colours, but it's not there really yet. It does take a lot of yellows on more than anything, and then what happens is these seed heads start standing out quite well, but there will come a point when they will just simply fall away, not be there anymore. Them seeds will be all over. We'll sell seed around for you. He's not too invasive, but you will find the odd seed around. And it always goes, I keep saying this, it always goes back into the centre. So when it dies back into the centre, and what happens is that just simply gets wider and wider year on year as a clump. And then what you do when you've got past that point where you don't want it any bigger, you just chop out a bit of the section. It's dead easy, and from that section you can produce more plants. Now one of the weird things about it is that when you do dig that bit out, it looks dead. It always looks dead, but it will come back at some point. And when I was more of an amateur at lifting this one and splitting it, I kept thinking they were dead. and I'd just leave them somewhere, and then suddenly up comes new leaves, and you don't think it's going to happen, but they do. Just give it time, and that's what happens. But it's a fantastic plant anyway. This is the one that I always mention in the summer because it smells like fox pea, but it's past that phase now. So that Calamagrostis, and that's Acutiflora Cal Forster, is still looking great. Fantastic. That's why I always recommend it. Just looks stunning all year. This tree's trying to get a bit further on, and these trees do produce a fantastic colour. Now, I came past one earlier that I know to be this particular variety itself. It's called Olympic Flame, but it was a lot better than this one because it's a lot more mature specimen than this one, but it does take on fantastic colours, as you can see there. Absolutely fantastic. I love this tree. It's more of a pyramid shape, so it's pyramidal, and it should be, the label's still on it, so let's see what size it makes, shall we? Right, in 10 years it's going to make 4 metres, so that's what, 12 foot, 15, maybe up to 15 it'll make. Let's show you it there. So there's the name if you want to actually buy it, but if you are going to buy it, you're going to pay that sort of money for it. £67.99. In actual fact, they've gone up even more now, even more, but they are fantastic. So I would recommend Sorbuses anyway in your garden because they have some of the best autumn colours for trees. Well, for a small garden anyway. There are some huge trees that take on very good autumn colours, but we need to avoid those. It's going to do it, it's going to do it. I was hoping it would. This one's called Cortaderia evita, and I didn't think it was going to produce the flower head, but it's there. It's going to make it, definitely going to make it, because we're expecting more warm weather, so I think that's going to do a treat there. It's only going to have just the one. There is another one in there, but that won't make it definitely, but that one will. That seed head will. Now next year that is going to be as wide as Patagonia. It is still a dwarfing variety, but it's the leaf spread. So if that affects you or worries you, don't bother getting that one. But it doesn't worry me. One of my favourite shots in the garden, this. Absolutely love this shot. I think that's the money shot. Beautiful. Is there anything worth showing you in here? Now, the miscanthus are coming on. They are getting there. But they're not where I want them at the minute. This one is doing better now. This is Professor Richard Hanson, and it should be, I'll tell you what it should be. It should be as tall as that one there. But it got held back, and the plant that did it was the one behind it. I'm going to have to remove that because I don't want it to spoil it next year. So we're going to do something about that. And then this one here, which is Little Zebra, will get to about 4 foot. A nice clump, a big clump, but only 4 foot. But it's producing fantastic seed heads, pink seed heads. I said it would, and there they are, pink seed heads. So some of the miscanthuses are not producing very good autumn colours, but the seed heads are. They're looking fantastic and stand out quite a lot. So, is there anything in here that I could show you? Well, I suppose there is. There's 1 or 2 bits. Nothing spectacular. Oh, I'll show you this while I'm here. This is Lamprophysis, and it's a beautiful, beautiful grass for a dry area, for a very dry area. Now, I had to stick this back into its bucket because it wasn't doing very well. So we lifted it in. I just left it. I left it to its own devices, and here it is. It's growing very well. And the weird thing about this particular grass is it flowers twice in the year. Very early on, in maybe February, March. And what are we now? We're in October now, and it's flowering. I think it would have flowered at least a month earlier had it not been in the pot. But it's beautiful. It really is a beautiful. A very, very nice plant indeed. That's little known to a lot of people, but takes the driest of dry conditions. Some more of my Malachi, and it is taking on some of the red tips, as you can see. They're more brown, but they do go red as the cold comes in. I didn't show you the other ones because they're all at the same phase. We're just waiting for the winter to get really cold. And I mentioned this the other day, and I think it is Miscanthus flamingo. I mislabeled it. Not very good at all. There's wrote in here we can show you. Nothing that we didn't show you before, but as I said with Miscanthus, they have a beautiful autumn colour. And there we go, some beauties. That's my own Sprite there, producing its lovely colour, but it does that almost from the word go. And then it produces a lovely skinny red seed head itself. And then we have other types in here. I have so many different types, there's no point in going through them all, but you can see they produce some nice leaves at this time of the year. They're beautiful. Now we'll just catch this while we're at this point. Oh look, I've got more Verbena bonariensis. Remember, if you buy one of these plants, you'll have it forever. It will always produce more and more and more seeds. And I absolutely love it. It complements grasses absolutely beautiful, and it complements any mixed border really. You can plant it right in the middle and it will find its way up through it. Reason I was coming this way was because I wanted to show you this particular Acer. I can't remember its name. I'll try and locate its name. I have put it up before. We did finally identify it. The label's blown away, and it's about to go into its autumn colour. And the autumn colours will be more like that lovely red colour as it gets going. A brighter red than when it starts off. It's a very dull red to start with, and then it turns into that. It should be beautiful. And we'll just give this a mention while we're here. You can see now it's producing more and more of the autumn colours, and that's Rhus glabra lanceolata, a very, very nice shrub that can be a bit of a spreader because it does sucker out, so be aware of that. But it's fantastic. Don't let that put you off. I never do. But that would prefer the cold weather to come in really quickly, and then it would be on fire. It'd be like a million fireworks going off. But I can still enjoy what it's got going at the minute, and as those ones actually get into their full colour, each leaf will drop off as they do it. So if they don't do it quick enough, we lose more leaves than we've got left on it. But you know, that's life. That's life. We've got the climbing hydrangea here, which always has a nice leaf colour, always goes yellow before it finally drops the whole lot. And that's a lovely hydrangea. Been in here quite a while, not been doing very well because I planted it in this area where it doesn't get enough rain. It's against this, so it's a garage and it's against the stone wall, but I do water it when we get really bad times, and it's looking okay, And then the Miscanthus Poseidon that I took up and moved, there's the cutting. I've left the flowers on. If you do it, take them off. I'm leaving it here. I'll just leave it to do its own thing. Just forget about it. Don't try and mollycoddle it. Leave it alone. Next year I will cut it down in January, February time, and it'll come back a treat. That'd be huge. Let's end with this, even though this isn't autumn colour. This is Leucantha mellet Ceratina. And I really like it because we do struggle with flowers at this time of year. I do have quite a lot, as you've seen, in flower. But this one's a white one, and it's beautiful. And it always holds its head like that when it first comes out. So you can see if we go to the side of it, like a sunflower. But it's a beauty, absolute beauty. You can see from that. Stunning. But a bit of a spreader, so if you do get it, just be wary of that. Okay, I'm going to end with this. This is a euphorbia. Now this is a cutting of the actual original plant. Euphorbia griffii dixter, or dixter flame it can be called as well. And it has stunning autumn colour. It's a spreader, that's its only downfall. But if you keep it in a big pot, it'll do okay, and it will still produce these stunning colours. So there you go. A little walk on some of the autumn colours. Just haven't got as many out as I wanted. But it is what it is. It's like I said earlier, it's very warm, and they don't favour it when it's warm. They prefer colder weather to get the colours absolutely firing in. But this one here is a Miscanthus, and this is Miscanthus sinensis Goliath. Finally got Goliath, and it does have wonderful autumn colours, as you can see there, and it also has this lovely reddy stem and beautiful seed heads. Well, beautiful to me. Not to you probably. You probably like hydrangeas, I don't know. Or dahlias. People think they're beautiful. Well, I think these are beautiful. And the colours are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, I'll talk to you on the next one. Ta-da!